What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank y'all so much for joining me after taking a break last Thursday from a Hot Topics and Social Commentary. I was out of town celebrating my father's birthday in Asheville, North Carolina, but I am back for another full week of content. Thank y'all so much for joining me. We have a couple things. I have a couple things rather I want you guys to do before we get started. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. Takes less than a second to mash that thing. So why don't you go ahead and mash it for it, brother? Be sure to leave a thumbs up for this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on 90 Day Hunt for Love. Let me know who
episode 8.
Yes, episode 8. Let me know who your favorite participants are. Let me know, what you're thinking about the different scenarios that are going on. Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Last but not least, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. Real quick announcement. The finale of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10 was posted this past Friday. I will be posting my review for that sometime tomorrow. So be on the lookout for it.
Interested to see it, Jonathan. I can't wait to see it tomorrow.
Thank you so much for that. Needless to say, I was not surprised at the winner. I had a feeling that she was going to win as soon as I saw that she was going to be on the cast. But hey, that's RuPaul's Drag Race for you. But anyways, we are back for our review for 90 Day Hunt for Love episode, season 1, episode 8. I got my main man Dustin back with me. Dustin, are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready to get into it. All right. I know Robin's going to ask me, so I got my new wheelchair, Robin. So yeah, this is my new wheelchair. So yes, I got my new wheelchair got it fixed last week. So the future now on, I'll be up here with the next to Jonathan, in my new wheelchair. So yes, I got my new wheelchair, and we're going to continue on as always, like we always do.
Absolutely, Dustin, and I'm so happy that you have your new wheelchair. I know you've been waiting on it. There was a little bit of a delay, but you are in it now, so I'm so happy for you. Auntie Robin is down in the comments. What up, though? She says, "Hey, Auntie Robin, so glad that you are back with us." We're ready to get into this thing, and so we start out with the emergency that happened at the end of the previous episode. But before I get into that, Auntie Robin says down in the comments, "Congratulations on the new chair. Are you loving it? Are you loving it, Dustin?"
Yes, I am. Thank you very much for asking, Robin. Thank you very much for asking, Jonathan.
No problem.
Yes.
So we find out that it is actually Colt. Colt is the one that is in the ambulance, and we see what happened before he got into the ambulance. He was visiting Courtney's room. Now, Courtney didn't necessarily specify why he was there. She didn't say whether he was seeing how she was doing or if they were eating together, whatever the case might have been. However, he ended up slipping on a wet floor because it had been raining near their villa, and he had apparently broken his leg. They did show the leg. I didn't see a break or anything like that, but you hear him writhing in pain. And even when I don't necessarily care for something, even when I don't necessarily care for someone, rather, I hate to see anyone in pain or anyone going through any type of pain or agony. And the entire time that that they said that he was in the hospital and that they were putting morphine in his knee. And, Courtney had asked him, "Is the knee that you had broken before?" He said yes. And so he had apparently had issues with this particular leg in the past. And Courtney and Jennifer end up going to the hospital with him. Jennifer goes because she's seems to be one of the only ones there that knows Spanish. And so she and Courtney, they go to the hospital. Courtney is feeling really, really bad. She really feels like it's just her fault. I guess she feels as though if Colt was never in her room, he might have never slipped and he might have never broken his leg. And, I do feel really bad for Courtney. And then Courtney also says in the confessionals that this is making her think as though she might actually have some feelings for Colt. It does not seem Colt needs surgery. They said it in the show. So I highly doubt that Colt will be returning to the show. I don't think that they're going to be there for that long, at least in Mexico for that long.
They only got one more. They only got 1 more week left at they only got 1 more week left in the thing they're doing now. So yeah,
Right. So when you factor in healing time and, recovery from the surgery and him having to heal his leg and things of that nature, I highly doubt that he will be coming back to the show. So, Dustin, what was your reaction? Hey, Lady Virgo. Lady Virgo's down in the comments. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Lady Virgo. Thank you so much for joining us. So glad to see you back in the comments, girl. So glad
yeah.
that you're here. So Dustin, what was your reaction to Colt having a leg break and and then seeing Courtney's reaction and blaming herself? What were you thinking about that?
Well, I don't like I don't like to see anybody in pain, Jonathan. I don't like to see anybody in pain or anything like that. So I hope you I hope you have a fast healing, Colts, because I don't like to see anybody in pain at all. I don't care who you are. I don't like to see you suffering like that. So for Tia for that to happen on camera, I feel terrible that that happened to him because it's going to take a long time to heal, and he's done it before. This is the
Right.
second. This is the second time this has happened to him, and I think the last time it happened to him was when he was on Happily Ever After. He used to be on Happily Ever After,
Oh, wow.
and it happened to well, it happened on there as well. So I don't. I can't imagine how it's going to take. How long it's going to take for him to heal the second time around. But I don't want to see anybody in pain, no matter who you are. But nobody deserves to be in pain and that much agony, and that's just so that's sad to me. So yeah, I don't ever want to see anybody in pain, Jonathan. Nope.
Yeah, they showed a shot of Colt in the hospital. They just had the camera on him. He had the oxygen mask on, and he just did not look well. And I wish they didn't have to show that, or at least if they're going to show it, don't show it as long. They showed him in that state for an unnecessary amount of time, to at least to me. But were you surprised that Courtney was starting to blame herself for him breaking his leg? And she was saying she feels like it's her fault and all this stuff. Were
Yeah.
you surprised that she had that reaction?
I was surprised at that reaction, and I want to say something right if I could, Jonathan. It's not her
Hmm.
fault. It's not her fault because it could have happened. It could have happened anyway. It's not. You might feel like it's your fault, but it's not your fault. It's a brief accident. It's not. It's not Courtney's fault. I know she feels like it is, but it's not her fault because it could have happened. He probably moved a certain way or something. Probably slid on the water, and he probably felt that way. But I don't. It's not her fault. Hopefully he can heal and they can move forward. But that's not her fault.
Right. And so then we have some of the participants participating in a cooking class. And this cooking class is going to include foods that are considered aphrodisiacs. And so the chef is like, this is going to help your performance. And they have this woman who I don't know exactly why she's there, but she's got this accent and she's introducing the actual cooking class.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know why she's here. And she's a little bit annoying to me because it's like, what's the point of you being here? You're not a dating coach. You're
Mm-hmm.
not a therapist or anything of that nature. You're just a face, a pretty face with an accent to introduce what it is that the couples are going to do or that the participants are going to do. But anyways,
Yes.
so Tim is saying that, he don't need no help getting aroused. He does not want to eat anything slimy, which I am the same way. I'm not as
Yeah.
much of a texture person as my sister Jennifer is, but if I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the texture of something, I'm definitely not going to put it in my mouth. And so they start playing with these different foods, and they see figs, and they say figs are in the shape of a vagina. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and also, no, vaginas typically look different. I think that there's a variety of different looking vaginas, just as there are a variety of different, male looking parts. So,
Yeah.
that's to me, that's a little interesting for people to say that, but hey, it is what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, while they're doing this cooking class, Tim, who is Jennifer's ex, he's explaining to Usman, or is it Usman? Usman or Usman?
Usman.
Usman.
Usman. Usman. Yeah.
Usman. Usman. He's explaining to Usman what happened because apparently he did not know that Colt was rushed off to the hospital. And he's asking where
Mm,
Courtney has been because he hasn't seen Courtney all day. He's been texting her, she hasn't been returning his text. And Tim explains to Usman what happened to Colt, and he said that Courtney was really not overreacting, but she was crying, and she was really devastated about what was happening. And Usman is saying in his confessionals that he doesn't have anything against Colt. He does not want Colt to get hurt. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt. However,
mm,
he feels as though this is going to throw a wrench into his plan because he on the previous episode he had asked Courtney out on a date. And I guess, I don't know if they were supposed to go on this date on this day, on this particular day that they're filming, but he's thinking that this is going to pull Colt and Courtney closer together. And I'm like, well, I don't expect to see Courtney staying in that hospital for Colt's entire stay. So Courtney will be returning to the villa. She'll be returning to the resort where you guys are. But again, I understand why Usman is having this reaction because he doesn't want anything to
mhm.
stand in his way of getting to his queen, Courtney. Usman calling Courtney his queen, it's like that's a bit much. Like I get that
That's a
you're on
little
a
bit.
TV show and
That's a
you
little
want to
bit too
push
much for
this
me.
narrative.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to push
yeah.
this narrative that you're really interested in Courtney, you want her to be your girl. But come on, like calling her your queen, that's a whole lot. Like I understand husband and wife, a husband calling his wife his queen, but you barely know this woman. So it is what it is. Dustin, were you surprised by Usman's reaction to what happened to Colt and the fact that
I
Courtney
was
seems to be
surprised about. I was surprised about the reaction. I didn't expect that kind of reaction, Jonathan, but I got it anyway. Honestly, I didn't expect him to have any kind of reaction to it. At least not to that level. But I don't really. I'm just gonna say I don't really like Usman. I don't really like Usman at all. This season so far, I could do without Usman. Uh, he's very controlling in my opinion, Jonathan. He's been married about 2 or 3 times, and he's been on a 90-day happily ever after twice. So
Yeah.
I see him more publicly than you have it. I don't know if you ever watched the old seasons or not, but I have seen him on a different level. Usman can be really really controlling, Jonathan. And you know how I feel about people that control. I don't like people that's controlling that much. And I continue on. But I don't think that I think the best thing for Courtney and Usman is to move forward in a different separate ways because I think that Courtney wants to be with Colt and Usman don't like that very much.
My opinion on Usman, the only thing that I have to say that I would like about that I would say that I like about him is his accent. He's like you said. I'm not sure if I'd use the word controlling for him, but he seems to be a little possessive of
Mm.
Courtney, trying to make it so that she doesn't want to entertain anyone
Thank you
else.
for
And
correcting me. Thank you
no,
for
no, no,
correcting.
no. If you see it as controlling, so be it. That could be.
Yeah,
Some people might see that as controlling as well, and
yeah,
but I personally just see it as him being sort of kind of possessive of
hmm,
Courtney, and
yeah,
to me, that's very unattractive.
yeah,
If she's interested in you, she will give you the time that she wants to give to you. But again, everyone is here to make friends.
yeah.
Everyone is here to make
I don't
connections
think.
with
I just don't think
multiple
Court.
people.
I just don't think Courtney is very wants to be with Usman, and that's how I feel about that situation. I think Usman wants to be with Courtney more than Courtney wants to be with him.
I do believe that he's more interested in Courtney than Courtney is in him. However, I do think that she would give Usman a chance. I do think that
Hmm?
she will at least entertain Usman. Now, whether she actually wants to be in a real relationship with Usman, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. But Usman does have a bad for Courtney, and I can understand that. I really
Yeah,
can understand that. Same with Cole and Jennifer. Cole is very very interested in Jennifer. Now, I will say that Cole does present some controlling behaviors.
yeah,
And I would say that in that
yeah,
particular case. But I wish Usman was a little more charming. Usman is very direct and very straightforward with it, and I
Mm,
wish he would be a little more elusive with his approach. But different men, will use courting tactics in different ways, and so you really can't expect everyone to do the same thing when it comes to courting another person. But I
right.
just wish that he was a little more had a little more charm to him.
Mm,
And I also don't enjoy his ego. He has a
mm,
really big ego about himself,
right.
as if he's the best thing walking, as if he's God's gift to women. And
Mm,
I don't necessarily like that.
mm, mm,
And it doesn't really have anything to do with looks. It's just that, I wish his personality were a bit more humble. I wish he was a
mm,
little more humble about himself. But hey,
mhm,
again, different people, different strokes for different folks. Everyone's not the same, so you can't expect everyone to act the same way. So it is what it is.
right.
But anyways, I'm sure Courtney and Usman will eventually be able to go on their date, and we'll see where it goes from there. But the
Yeah.
only other thing that happened during this episode, so this might be a short review, but the only other thing that happened during this episode is that all the girls went out together and they were having a girls' night out, and all the guys went out together and they're having a guys' night out. And I always
Mm,
love these types of activities. Even though the girls seem to be a little bit separated, like, all the girls really don't seem to get along that well, whereas the
mm,
guys seem to be sort of a united front in a way, even though we've
mm,
seen a little bit of tension between Cole and Rob due to both of their interest in Jennifer, but they seem to be
right.
on better terms. They really haven't had that much interaction with one another. And to be honest,
Mm.
I really don't remember. I'm sure Cole was there, but I don't see Cole getting I didn't see Cole getting too much screen time, at least on this particular episode.
No, I
But
don't think he was
anyways,
there. Mm.
but
I don't
anyways,
think he was
while the girls are on their way to the bar, I think they're going to a bar. I think it is. Um, and while they're on their
there.
way to the bar, Elise, she brings up the subject of Jennifer yet again.
Mm,
I don't know why Elise will not let this go. But well,
mm,
I scratch that. I do know why Elise won't let this go. She won't let this go because there are so many rumors about Elise having sex with Rob.
mm,
And she's like, no, it's not me. She's pointing the finger where it does need to be pointed at, technically where it does need to be pointed at, which is Jennifer. Jennifer's the only one. Well, really, Jennifer and Rob seem to have been the only ones to have had sexual
mm,
relations on this series thus far. And
mm,
then Jennifer brings up this rumor that Elise and Rob had sex together that day. And
mm,
initially, Dustin, when I heard this,
mm,
I'm thinking the same way Elise is feeling. I'm sorry, not Elise, Elsie. Her name is Elsie.
mm,
I'm feeling the same way Elsie is feeling. Is that I think Jennifer just popped this up because she wants to get the attention off of her. She does not want the attention to be on her, so she's putting the attention right back on Elsie and saying that, well, I heard that, I heard that you had sex with Rob this morning, or not
mm.
that morning, but on that particular day. And Elsie is like, who told you that? Like, where did you hear this from? And initially Jennifer does not say who it is that she heard it from. Dustin, what was your reaction to Jennifer saying that she heard that Elsie had sex with Rob that day?
My reaction was, "Are you crazy?"
Right.
Um, I thought maybe I thought I thought, "Are you crazy?" Because there are certain things that I know it's reality TV. I know it's drama, but there are certain things that I believe that should stay behind closed doors, Jonathan. And you know this about me by now. I think that there are certain things that should be said on reality TV, and there's certain things that should be behind closed doors. And you shouldn't have said that. In my opinion, you shouldn't have said that on reality TV. That's just too much for me. And continue on because I did I I didn't need to hear that. There's
Right.
Rob has his own life to live, and Rob has his own decisions to make. He's old enough to make his own decisions, just like me and Jonathan are old enough to make our own decisions. What we do in our life. So I don't care. It's you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and you're gonna move forward.
With that being said, Dustin, do you support Jennifer and Rob's decision to not reveal that they've had sex? Do you support the fact that they're not telling anyone, or do you want them to let others know?
I don't. I support them. Let's keep it between yourself. I don't want to know. No, I don't want to know.
So my thing, Dustin, is I don't think they have an obligation to tell the others that they've had sex. However, I feel I'm really I'm it's like I'm torn, but at the same time I'm not torn. I honestly just want them to tell them what's going on.
Well,
And
then
to
just tell
be
and get it over with. Just tell and get
right,
it over
exactly,
with.
because there's so many rumors, there's so much speculation about them actually doing it, and they could put it all to rest if they just tell everyone that they've had sex. Now, again, I do understand the reason why they don't want to tell everyone. I really do get it because they don't want everyone in their business. Because
Mhm.
when if they reveal that information, then everyone's going to assume that they're actually interested in having a relationship together. They're going to assume that they're not going to entertain anyone else that's in the villa or on the or
Yes.
at the resort or on the show.
Mhm.
So again, I get why they don't want to tell everyone, but at the same time, I think it would answer a lot of people's questions if
Mm.
they would just reveal to everyone that they have actually had sex. But
Now, I
it
think
is
the
what it
question
is.
might come up. I think the question might come up at the tell-all.
Oh
For her.
yeah, absolutely. They have
The
to
que-
reveal it at the tell-all when
Yeah.
everyone has seen what we the viewers have seen that they
Yeah.
did have sex. I mean, we saw the strokes, y'all. We saw the strokes. So
Yes.
there's no
Uh,
question that it actually
no.
happened, y'all. Child,
You
anyone
have
who's
to
seen
say,
that.
you have to save some things for the tell-all, or because if you didn't save some things, then what's the point of having a tell-all? And
Right, and that
I don't want everything to be revealed during the regular season. I want some things to be saved through the tell-all because what's the point? What's the point of having a tell-all in period? Hmm.
and something tells me that they're going to leave that particular subject until the final part of the tell-all. I don't know how many parts of the tell-all they will have for Hunt for Love, but something tells me that they're going to leave that until the last thing because that's really the biggest drama, excuse me, of this series thus far is the
Hmm.
the whole Rob and Jennifer thing. But anyway, so
Yeah.
the girls go to a bar, the guys all go to a bar as well,
Hmm.
and the girls are kind of sharing their worst sexual experiences. May, who Tim said he's interested in, which is a surprise to me because this is his first time saying that he was, while they were having the cooking class, he said that would be more time for him to spend with May. But May said that
Yeah.
she was having relations in a dark room and her man putting it in the wrong place.
Hmm.
Elsie reveals that she had relations with the professional athlete. I think she said it was a football player, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
she said that he wanted her to put a strap on and do that to him in order for him to have an orgasm. Now, I
Hmm.
don't know how true that was, but who knows? Maybe it could be true. And then the subject of sexuality comes up amongst the girls, and Jennifer said that she didn't say that she is bisexual, but she did say that she did enjoy the kiss that she had with Chantel. And then Chantel goes into her confessionals and says, "Well, the subject of sexuality is coming up, and I really hope that no one asks me about my sexuality because I'm still trying to compute. I'm still trying to put together this feeling that I have for my friend who kissed me before I came out here to Mexico." So I have to say this out loud. I am getting a little tired of Chantel trying to push this narrative that she's questioning her sexuality. I'm not saying that it's that is not genuine because I
Yeah.
do believe that adults can get to a point to where they question their sexuality, especially
Mhm.
if they hadn't considered it previously, or maybe they had rejected that thought in their past, and
Mhm.
they never really acted on it in their past. And so once they get older, they get to a point to where they're like, well, now I'm older, and now I have the chance to actually act on my maybe repressed desires that I might have put away, locked in the corner,
Mhm.
until
Right.
I got older. So again, I
Yeah.
don't think that Chantel is lying about her being unaware of where her sexuality lies. However, I'm just tired of hearing her talking about it in her confessionals, especially if she's not going to act on it. Dustin, what are your
Uh,
thoughts on Chantel's apprehension of sharing her questioning her sexuality?
I don't like Chantel. Period. I
Oh,
don't. I don't really. I don't want to see. I didn't even want to see her on the show. To be watching her on the show is really getting my next level. I want my next level of frustration. with Chantel. I don't want to see Chantel back next season. When this season ends, I hope I never see her again because I just don't like her. Because I know a lot of stuff about her family and I know how she is, and I don't really surprise me how she's being treated on this show. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's to me it's it's like she's beating a dead horse. It's like,
Yes,
you've pushed this narrative since I think episode 1 or 2, and it's like, I get that might be her storyline, but for me it's just it's
it gets tiring. It gets tiring, Jonathan, when you hear
thank
the
you.
same. It gets tiring when you hear the same thing over and over again with the same. Oh, my this and my that, my this, my that. Say it. You're on the show. Say it. Just get it over with.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that, Dustin. You took the words right out of my mouth. It is tiring to hear Chantel in every single episode saying that she's struggling with her sexuality. Well, and you would think me, a guy who's in the LGBTQIA plus community, that would interest me, but I have no interest. Well, probably because she's a woman. I have no interest in that. Maybe if one of the guys were saying it, maybe I would be more interested. But when it comes to Chantel, child, I just don't care. I really don't care. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, so then Elsie gives
Yeah.
Jennifer an opportunity to reveal who told her this rumor about Elsie and Rob having sex that day. And Jennifer reveals that it was Cole that told her. And then we saw in the preview for the next episode that Elsie confronts Cole about this, and he seemingly does not deny it. It seems like that seems to be a rumor that's going around with everyone. So, Dustin, did that surprise you that Jennifer said that it was Cole that told her? And do you believe Jennifer when she says it was Cole that told her? Because when Jennifer initially said it, I thought that, she just pulled that out of her ass, that she was just saying it
I
just to
don't
say it.
believe it. I don't believe it. I think that she found out something somebody else maybe told her about. I don't believe it. Uh, and I th- and if they bring it up at the tell all and she says it to my says it to tell all, then I'll believe it then. But right now, I don't believe it. So I think somebody else might have told her that.
Yeah, I personally don't. Initially, when Jennifer said it, I didn't think anyone told Jennifer that. I thought that Jennifer just thought that up right in the moment and just said, "Well, I heard such and such and such and such." So that's
Mhm.
my thought. But when I saw the preview and Cole did not deny that he told Jennifer that, I was like, "Oh, there might be something to this." So
Mhm.
again, I don't think that proves that Cole told Jennifer that piece of information, but I
Mhm.
guess we'll get more clarification on that on the next episode. And then
Yes.
the last thing that I want to get to is all the guys are hanging out. Rob is saying that he's tired of all the attention being on him, Jennifer, and Elsie, and so uh, Rob brings up the subject of Tiffany. So
Right.
Tiffany right now has three people that are vying for her attention. She has
Mhm.
this African American young gentleman on there named Jay. She has another man named Carlo. Carlo is the man that she went on that date with in the hot tub. That not the hot tub, but they were doing the mud mask and all that good stuff. She revealed
Right.
to him that she has 2 kids, and he was a little apprehensive about dating someone with children. And they have a
Mhm.
little thing going on. And then also Tiffany is very interested in Rocky as well. Rocky is who they've called P Stash. I don't think
Mhm.
we can say the that word on
Mhm.
YouTube, but she has interest in him. And so apparently Carlo is upset with Jay for asking Tiffany out on a date. Now, Jay did say that he had a conversation with Carlo concerning taking Tiffany out on the date because he knew that Tiffany and Carlo had been talking, and Carlo seemingly now has issue with it. Now, Jay said that, you didn't say you had an issue with it before, but now you have an issue with it. And Carlo ends up calling Jay a bitch.
Mhm.
And here's my thoughts on this. Carlo, I understand this whole, you want to seem like the big man on campus. You want to seem like you're this manly man, and you want to, show off your
Mhm.
masculinity, and be like,
Mhm.
you want to be the big man. But I don't think you want to try that with Jay because Jay is a very built
Nope.
man, much bigger than Carlo is. It seems like to me, seems like he's taller than
Yeah.
Carlo, and Carlo is getting up and he wants to fight, and Jay is not backing down at all. And I don't want to say that I want to see Carlo beat up. I don't want to see anyone get beat up, but I'm find it very interesting that Carlo seems to all of a sudden have an issue with Jay going on a date when Jay told Carlo, "Dude, I came to you and I talked to you about it, and you didn't have an issue with it before. So why are you having an issue with it now?" So Dustin, what are your thoughts on Carlo being mad at Jay for asking Tiffany out on a date when they had a
Uh,
conversation prior to this night?
why are you mad at it now? You should have, why are you mad now? You should have said something about it a long time ago. Uh,
Right.
that don't make no sense to me, Jonathan, because it's not like that. It's not the first time you heard about this. Um, I heard about this before on a couple episodes ago, and you wasn't mad about it then, but you're mad about it now, so it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. It don't surprise me, Jonathan. It don't surprise me at point blank, point blank period. It don't surprise me, but it's kind of shocking to me because I didn't expect this here, but here we are now, and I don't know how it's gonna move forward. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
It
To
was.
be honest, like I don't think Carlo knows what he's doing, calling Jay a bitch. It's like, first of all, you don't know this man. And second of all, he did the respectful thing. Like he didn't have to talk to Carlo about asking Tiffany out on the date. He really did not have to do that. He was
Mm-hmm,
being nice. He was being considerate when he told you that he was going to ask, or telling you that they're going on a date. So he
mm-hmm,
did what a man, I guess, should do, I guess, in moral guy code, if there is one. I guess there is one. So to me that made no sense for Carlo, and I'm thinking that Carlo only did this just to drum up a little bit of drama and have his reality TV moment. That's what I'm picking up from his
mm-hmm.
reaction to Jay taking Tiffany out on a date. But we'll see what
Anything?
happens. It seems like Tiffany has the most suitors out of all the women that are on the show. Jennifer
Uh,
being the second, she has Cole and Rob that are vying for her affection. So
mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens on the next episode. So before we get out of here, Justin, why don't you go ahead and give us your social media contacts real
My
quick?
social media contacts are Dustin Butler 700, and my Instagram, my Facebook of Dustin Butler, and of course I want to thank Jonathan for always being here for me, and Tyrone is back behind the camera, and I want to say happy belated birthday once again, Tyrone. Thank you for always being here. And one more thing, Jonathan. I
Mm-hmm.
want to say something about Stephen Colbert show. That's really shocking to me that CBS has canceled that. I didn't expect that, and the reason why I think that it got canceled is because uh, CBS is really going through a merger right now with Skydance Media, and I think Skydance Media decided that they it would be too much of a risk for Skydance to continue on with Stephen Colbert. So that's just my opinion about that. It was really shocking to hear it was canceled over the weekend, and I don't like this. I don't like to hear that. I think that CBS is really going downhill, in my opinion. Well, on certain shows, I don't think that he deserved to be canceled for that. I think.
Yeah, to be honest, I never watched one episode. I don't watch late night shows in general, but I've never found Stephen Colbert to be the funniest. He was kind of funny when he was, hosting the Daily Show, or not hosting, but when he was making appearances on the Daily Show. I thought, a couple things that he said were funny, but they have writers
Mhm,
for that show, and so I don't know if they were his own jokes. But anyways, like I've never been the biggest fan of
mhm,
Stephen Colbert. I do think it's sad that his show is being canceled. But it is what it is. That's the nature of show business. Things get canceled all the
mhm.
time. But
Yes.
it is what it is. You guys can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is JoJo_speaks 3020. My Facebook is Jonathan Lee. My email is WilliamJonathanLee@gmail.com. My Cash App is $Jonathan Lee 07. That's $JONATHANLEE 07. Thank y'all once again for joining us for this review of 90 Day Hunt for Love, Season 1, Episode 8. Be sure to be on the lookout for my review of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10. Again, that will be released tomorrow. So be on the
Mhm,
lookout for that. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same place, same beautiful faces. But until then, we'll say bye for now. Y'all have a wonderful week and stay safe out there and stay cool out there as well.
Stay cool. It's supposed to be 95 degrees tomorrow, so stay cool, everybody.
Yeah, it's 90 degrees out here too. Love you guys for watching. Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye.